Let's talk about home arcades because I think as any of us know that this whole idea of having arcade at home has become more and more popular year after year for many years now. And that's why I got something like the Legends Ultimate Arcade because it allows me to play arcade games at home without actually having to have a real arcade machine. And even though I really feel this is an awesome thing, I think it's gotten to a point where it's getting too expensive and in some cases crazy expensive. And it kind of makes me wonder whether or not it actually makes sense to actually get some of these things. So let's go ahead and talk about that. And we'll start off with my favorite home arcade machine right now, as I mentioned, is the Legends Ultimate. I have the original HD. It's currently $600, but whenever I got this, I paid $500 with tax and everything. It was near $600. Okay, so I got mine at Sam's Club, and so it did have some additional features, and I definitely don't regret it. It is an amazing machine, and I was able to load things up like CoinOpsX and One Sauce, so I can enjoy thousands of games on this machine. And then there were other things like the Legends Pinball, $800. You could get one for even on sale before it was like $350. And then you could also get this Legends Ultimate Mini, for around $370. And so those prices I think are really good for what you're getting. However, the upcoming 4K units, the pinball, and also the At Games Legends Arcade stand up, the AOU, it's going to be way more expensive. So right now, for the pre-orders for this, is $200, but the full price is $1,500. So that's not including shipping, that's not including tax, and all of them it seems are around that price. And from things that I've heard, the actual stand-up unit, the new 4K, is going to be around $1,300. And well, that's going to be pretty expensive. And even if they were able to get it down to $1,000, that's pretty much double what the original costs. So it's pretty crazy how expensive it's got. And then if you actually think about like other manufacturers like Arcade One Up, before I would used to say, this is not a great deal because it is expensive for what you're getting. Typically, whenever you buy these Arcade One Ups, you're not getting anywhere near as many games as what you would get with the Legends Ultimate. Like here, you're getting what, about 12 or 13 games on this one. And then some of the new units, you might get even less. So let's look at some of the upcoming units coming soon. So this NBA Jam, you're getting about how many games? 3 games here. And for the Time Crisis Deluxe, you're getting 4 games. And I understand that these cabinets, they're more specialty. They're made to emulate the original arcade. But I look at these prices, $600, $700, $800, still pretty expensive. And the thing is, they're not getting any cheaper. And what you're getting out of it is becoming less and less. And, with the arcade one-ups, I don't think they're worth the money that you're paying because you get less games. Besides the whole aesthetics and also the size, I still don't think they are as great as a value as they are with the Legends Ultimate Arcade. And even with the Legends Ultimate Arcade, with firmware updates that they've made, you're not able to enjoy things like CoinOpsX or One Sauce fully. And in some cases, you might not even be able to play CoinOpsX with the new firmware. And so it takes away a lot of what the Legends Ultimate did best. And that allows you to load games that you want on your system. And so even then, with the new ones, which are going to be over $1,000, they don't offer you anywhere near as much gaming capabilities as the original HD with the original firmware. So that makes me think about, well, what are some other alternatives? Well, if you look at something like Unico, which is gaining in popularity, at least among the retro gaming crowd, you're still going to be spending a lot. This is $1,400 for the Candy Deluxe. And there is like so bar top editions, $1,000. So once again, still not cheap. And these are meant for different types of gamers. Like if you have your own board or something, arcade board that you could put in there. And so it makes me think like, what are your other options if you actually want a home arcade that's not anywhere near the $1,000 plus range? Well, for most people, they might look to Amazon and get one of these emulation boxes. And even though this isn't really a home arcade, it does have arcade games in these emulation boxes. Because at the end of the day, this is what these are. These are emulation boxes, you know. And so that is one option. And I think it's always going to be an option as long as Amazon allows these to be sold here. And then obviously you could always look to authentic, real arcade machines. And typically, these are going to be pretty expensive. Obviously, you could go hunting yourself to see if you could find cheaper home arcades. But for the most part, they're going to be more than $1,000 if you want really good used home arcades and you don't want to spend a lot of time looking for it. Okay, so that is an option, and hopefully, it'll always be an option because at the end of the day, having a real arcade machine is, in my opinion, going to be the best way to go because, well, you have the real authentic arcade machine, or you look towards something like extreme home arcade. So I feel that these are the ultimate home arcade emulation systems because they're going to give you the most, you know, the most high quality materials, the most games, the most configuration options. And even though you're looking at this like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, or even $3,000, you're thinking, man, this is just way out of my league for pricing. And I definitely would not disagree with you in that. For most people, they're not going to be able to afford these machines. But for the normal everyday person, they are buying things like this. They are buying these Legends Ultimate Arcade, you know, for over $1,000. People have actually purchased these on pre-orders. And then if you think of all the arcade one-up collectors, they have multiple arcade one-ups. You know, I've seen a lot of content creators have like more than 5 or 6 or even a dozen arcade one-ups. And so if you add all of that up, the price goes up. And then I'm thinking, if you're going to be spending that much on these anyway, and you want the best home arcade experience, in my opinion, I would say, why don't you just save up your money and get something more like this? If you know you're going to be spending that much money, or even look to an actual arcade machines. Because right now, with all these new units coming out, in my opinion, I do not think it's worth thousands of dollars if you think about it. Over $1,000 with tax and everything, it's going to be $1,500 to $2,000. And at that point, if you want an awesome arcade experience at home, then you might look to something like this, or you might have to like just buy the cabinets. This would be the most cost-effective way, in my opinion. Buy these cabinets and basically put your own emulation box in there. Okay, that would probably be the cheapest way to do that. But for people who don't want to do all of that, and you're going to be spending more than $1,000 for these units, you might as well look towards something like this. And so those are my thoughts on the state of home arcades. I kind of feel like it's getting really, really expensive. And for a lot of people out there who are buying multiple home arcade, you know, whether it's a At Games Legends arcade or more than likely multiple arcade one-up cabinets, I kind of feel like if you're not the type of person who's going to be modifying these cabinets and you don't want to spend a lot of time doing that, but you're still going to be spending potentially $1,000, you might as well look towards either a real authentic home arcade if you have the space, or something like these extreme megacades, which are going to give you the best home arcade experience possible. And for me, if I do intend to buy more of these in the future, that's probably where I'm going to go. I'm going to save up my money and get one of these mega arcade machines that has everything. And that's also not going to be limited, I would say, by these companies who could release firmware at any point that could break functionality of your home arcades. So if you had any thoughts on this, be sure to leave in the comments here below, and I'll see you on another episode.
Hey geeks, if you are a brand new creator and you simply want something easy to get you started, well, I got something for you with my Creator Starter Kit. This is a super simple step-by-step guide that's going to take you from having no channel to developing your very first YouTube channel, along with ideas, thumbnail designs, and other creator tips, including marketing. And the best part is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and get started creating.